Breaking news into SportsCenter, and it's dire news for the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger has just been ruled out for the season. The team announcing that a short time ago. Roethlisberger injured his elbow in yesterday's loss to Seattle, a non-contact injury, as you see it there. He will have surgery and be placed on the reserve injured list. His season is over. We'll bring in our NFL insider, Chris Mortensen. What more do you know about the specifics of this injury?
I can tell you, as soon as he grabbed his arm yesterday, the suspicion was that he had a Tommy John-like injury. That was the suspicion. It was non-contact. He's been complaining about some elbow tendonitis to the trainers there, and he had the MRI. It shows the torn ligament, and so he has to have that surgery. I called Jake Delhomme, who's one of 4 quarterbacks I know for sure who's had Tommy John surgery, the former Carolina Panthers quarterback. And I called him this morning, and he goes, he didn't even say hello. He said, "You're calling me about Ben Roethlisberger, aren't you?" And sure enough, I was. And then Mike Tomlin, the head coach, made the announcement shortly ago that Ben is out for the season. There have been other quarterbacks who've had this injury. We associate it with baseball pitchers, right, David?
So he's having Tommy John surgery. Is that what you're saying?
Let's let the team go ahead and define that.
Okay.
But that is what I've been told.
Okay.
Is that this is Tommy John-like surgery. Now, Joe Montana had elbow surgery. That was a tendon, but it knocked him out for the year in 1991. And that eventually led to his way out of Kansas City because Steve Young came in. But then, you know, we've had Jake Delhomme. Carson Palmer had this injury, wasn't as severe, and he chose not to have the surgery, but he missed the rest of that 2007 season when he suffered it. And then Craig Erickson, guys, you know, in the past have had it.
When we think of Tommy John, we think of that's 12 to 18 months.
It's not for football players. Jake Delhomme said his arm was better 2 months after surgery. In 2007, 4 to 6 months, he was throwing. After 6 months, his arm was live. And in fact, he said to this day, his arm is the best part of his body.
Okay.
So it's not the same violent throwing motion.
So we should expect him at the start of next season if
he wants to continue to play.
Plan.
There's no question.
Let me ask you this. Timing is terrible for the Steelers. A week ago, they traded Josh Dobbs. Mason Rudolph did pretty well coming in a relief role. How were the Steelers set up at quarterback?
You know, Dobbs was their third-string quarterback, and even though they liked him, I think they also felt he was an asset in case somebody else's quarterback got hurt, he could be traded, because they really liked this kid named Devlin Hodges, undrafted free agent from Samford University in Birmingham, Alabama. He was kind of the star of training camp of the non-Ben Roethlisberger quarterbacks. Mason's the guy. I don't know that Hodges, who's been re-signed when they traded Dobbs, is going to be the backup quarterback. But, you know, Gardner Minshew was a 6th-round pick for the Jaguars, and he earned that backup quarterback. So Hodges is there, and they obviously are going to look to pick up another guy.
Okay. Chris Mortensen helping us out with the breaking news. Again, the Ben Roethlisberger season is done. He is having surgery. Ben Roethlisberger, 37 years of age. If you look at his replacements going back to the start of the 2004 season, they've gone 15-11 with the record of starters. Have averaged far fewer passing yards per game, however. Of course, a lower completion rate and 5 more interceptions than touchdown passes. So the numbers add up to more wins than losses, but they have not had a tremendous amount of success at the quarterback position. Ben Roethlisberger has just been a rock there for so many years. Carrie?
All right, David, thank you so much for that. Ryan Clark with us. So, Ryan, let's talk about it. They alluded to it a moment ago. How much confidence do you have in Mason Rudolph going forward with Big Ben, without Big Ben this season?
Mason Rudolph had a really good preseason. He was a guy that showed chemistry with some of those young wide receivers that he got to play with. And yesterday, you saw him bring energy to the game. Early on in the game, Ben Roethlisberger and those wide receivers, they couldn't connect. The team wasn't moving. There wasn't any excitement. And with Mason Rudolph in the game, there were flea flickers to Juju Smith-Schuster. There was excitement in the pocket. He seemed like he was excited to be the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And to be honest, I didn't see that with Ben Roethlisberger and this new group of wide receivers that he has. Obviously, the experience isn't there. The talent level isn't necessarily there. But when they drafted Mason Rudolph, they thought he could be the successor to Ben Roethlisberger. And we will see now as this season continues if Mason Rudolph is actually that guy.
All right, we have to talk big picture, and obviously people talked about it this weekend because the Steelers, their offense is struggling. No more killer bees, including Big Ben, out for the season. So what is this era moving forward for the Steelers in terms of what do you expect to see from them this season?
This is a totally new era, and I didn't necessarily think the Pittsburgh Steelers would be great this year. You see James Conner, he goes out with a knee injury yesterday, so Samuels has to come in as the backup running back. And I believe this team going forward, they will will struggle. They will struggle offensively. And also looking at this team from a defensive standpoint, I don't believe they're stout there or sound in what they're doing on that side of the ball. So this isn't a team I look to make the playoffs. This isn't a team I look to make a run. What they're doing now is seeing what pieces they have for the future and building for something new. And I heard Mort say that other quarterbacks have come back from this and they feel stronger from an arm strength standpoint. But still, Ben Roethlisberger's on the tail end of his career, so you might as well start to see what you have moving forward.
All right, it looks like it could be a rebuild, as you're saying, for the Steelers. We have some more breaking news just happened as well as we go on the air. I want to get your take on this as well. Saints quarterback Drew Brees is expected to undergo thumb surgery as early